Hi everyone, thanks for clicking on my video. As you can tell, I love stories, myths, and legends, and everything like that. I also like RPGs. My friends and I have been playing Daggerheart, which combines kind of both of those together. It's a new game by Critical Role and Darrington Press. It links in the description below. Also, I'm not sponsored at all, so do what you like. It doesn't matter to me. So I decided to write out my character's origin story using the Daggerheart rules. And as always, I like to give credit where credit is due. So I also want to shout out H.R Giger for some visuals. You'll know them when you hear them. Link of his stuff as well is in the description. There are some trigger warnings listed below. I hope you enjoy the story. Thank you. And remember, you are a wonderful story in motion. In every epic tale, an adventurer is found in a small town in the local tavern. This particular tavern is a well-lit, rectangular room with a long, sleek bar taking up most of the space. 2 tables on platforms are set next to the only brick wall. The bricks are a natural earth brown, part of the original tavern built 100 years ago. The coveted seats at the high-rise table allow important customers to stand out amongst the rest of the clientele. The wall behind the bar shines due to the large mirrors. They're adorned with hundreds of bottles of all wine. White, red, rosé, Iman, which is a sparkling wine originated and produced in a specific region. Inside, everyone talks loudly amongst their groups, hoping others will hear as they discuss mergers, acquisitions, and the newest fashion from the far-off land of Malocchio. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out onto the street, allowing any traveler a full view of this finest of establishments and its loyal patrons. Ever since the founding fathers woefully underpaid the locals for this land, it has been a thriving location for high society. However, sometimes the adventurer doesn't know they are an adventurer yet, and they're located outside. On the cobblestone streets, right in front of the row of windows, a short royal blue mushroom man, known as a fungrel, walks by. His body is wrapped in a rich purple robe with silver and gold trimming. The elegant robe is his favorite. Not only is it his favorite color, but it was also a gift. His parents gave it to him after he was accepted into the university's wizarding program. His royal blue conical mushroom cap stands tall and flares out around the edges. Underneath, fibrillose structures weave back and forth, giving a structure to the cap. A small V-shaped notch allows him to see the world around him. He's been needing a cap trim for a while, but not tonight. Tonight he was going to focus on one thing, and one thing only: his books. He carries his recently acquired collection tightly against his slim frame. The 3 books have their names beautifully inscribed on the spines in rich black ink. The Wonders of Wizarding and You, Magic Theories, and Flicks and Swoops, Supple Wrist Movements for Wizards. In his left hand, he holds his wand, practicing his wrist movements. The wand is a single piece of redwood, perfectly balanced. The sides are decorated with immaculate carvings of powerful runes and the family crest, inlaid with gold and silver. A leather band binds it to his wrist. Being the head wizard in this town has been his goal since before he burst from the ground. He comes from a long line of head wizards, from his mother to his great-great-grandfather, who was the first head wizard here in Lenorque. The young 75-year-old Ento Frederickstein Lomo von Kakakos to Tirai IV, Ento to his friends and family, is well on his prepaid path to take up his family mantle. His 4th-year finishing exams are 6 months away, which means he will be a 5th year soon. Soon is relative to a long-lived fungrel. He can hardly wait, as 5th year is when he can finally become an apprentice.
And flick, flick, swirl?
Ento says to himself, walking down the street, practicing his wrist movements.
No, that's not right. What is it? Oh, flick, flick, twirl.
He smiles at his correction. Lost in his practice, he fails to notice the shadow that crosses his path. Too late to correct course, he slams into a wall of orange fur. Not just any fur, but the fur of his arch-nemesis, a Qatari named Chadworth Murray Chumley de Panthera, a.k.a. Chad. His grandfather changed the family name from de Vulpes to de Panthera when he moved to this town. He said it was because it was easier to pronounce, but most people think it's because he wanted to sound more important. Qatari are a species of cat people, ranging in color and size. Most Qatari here are respectable and decent, but the de Pantheras are known for their huge egos. Everyone has an arch-nemesis, of course, but Chad has many. He is a ruthless bully, but his most sought-after target is Ento. Chad stands a good 1.5 feet taller than Ento. His body is adorned with dark black leather and more buckles than necessary. Its functionality seems questionable. Ento freezes in fear as he is currently pressed into Chad's exposed furry chest. Chad seizes this opportunity to slash at Ento's face with his powerful claws. Touching the wound, Ento recoils in shock. Feeling vulnerable, he instinctively dangles his charm bracelet, helping him focus on a spell. His mind quickly shuffles through the Book of Ava until he finds what he is looking for. He whispers under his breath in an ancient dead language as he makes sure to flick and swoosh his wand in tempo, releasing a concussive wave of energy. The spell pushes Chad back several meters.
What are you trying to blame me for this time?
The short mushroom yells.
You were with her. She is mine.
Chad bellows in response. He grabs a brick and hurls it at Ento. Ento barely evades the incoming brick.
Who are you talking about?
Ento asks, realizing too late that a second brick is quickly hurtling towards him. It hits him in the shoulder, which might have been a minor injury if it wasn't for his thick robes. At most, he'll have a sore spot. Before he can recover from the surprise impact, Chad closes the distance between them, grabbing and lifting the smaller man into the air. With his face so close to Chad, a small, dark whisper rises from the back of Ento's mind.
What were you doing with her?
It hisses. Before Ento can respond, Chad snarls.
I don't care if you were only studying. Stay away from Bella.
That's disgusting. Bella's my best friend. How did you know we were studying anyway? Were you spying on her?
Ento says, picking out his next words carefully as he begins to focus, allowing the spell in his mind to merge into the vibration of the words he is currently speaking.
Also, you're a beastly, brutish imbecile. Not really her type.
A purple, semi-transparent, disembodied hand begins to form behind Chad's back. With those final words, Chad pulls back his large, clenched fist. Ento, anticipating this, uses his magic hand to hook into Chad's bent elbow, holding his arm in place. With a bit of luck and hope, Ento is able to use prestidigitation at the same time, conjuring the image of a small black blur moving in Chad's peripheral vision. Instinctively, the Qatari turns around to see who dares interrupt his interrogation, dropping Ento in the process. Ento, able to land gracefully, turns it into a full run. Luckily or unluckily for him, he has a lifetime of experience running away from Chad and other bullies. He moves with great agility and ease, barely turning around before casting a mystical tether towards his tormentor. Chad realizes too late that Ento has escaped his grasp, but as he takes a step towards his prey, his leg refuses to budge. Looking down, he sees ropes made out of Ento's familiar purple energy, weaving around his legs, anchoring him to the cobblestone sidewalk. All Chad can do is yell something in impotent rage, but Ento is not able to make it out at this distance. Safe back at his house, Ento takes a deep breath to shake off the lingering vulnerable sensation. He begins to play the conversation over in his mind. Bella, a fellow fungirl, has been a good friend since they were both tiny sprouts. The idea of dating her is repulsive, just like most of the potential matches for him in this town. He's been to every cotillion since he was of marrying age. Always the same childhood acquaintances, the same demure manners and obedient ideals. Bella is different. She speaks her mind, she is intelligent, and can hold her own in a fight. She got into the wizarding program, which is rare for females. She reminds Ento of the women in his secret stash of adventuring books. Ento prides himself on being logical, a mushroom man of science and magic, but he's still a hopeless romantic at heart. He wants to be with a lady who is intelligent, a bit of a rebel, and a partner. Qualities that Bella obviously has, except for one glaring issue. No magic, no conversation can change, nor can it be overlooked. Bella told him the first day they met that she likes the ladies too. Ento understood then, as he does now, and he loves her like a friend. In fact, there are no realistic partners in Lenorg, and he is unable to leave due to his family's desire for him to become the next head wizard. He has resigned himself to a life without love. Now he lives vicariously through his adventure novels. Feeling a little less hopeful, Ento decides it might be best to take a nap. He grabs his newest adventure book, The Daring Trials and Tribulations of Sir Tarion Darrington. The world in this book is interesting, but quite rigid compared to reality. Letting the beautiful, flowery language fill his head, Ento falls gently to sleep. Waking up a bit groggy, an electrical pulse of panic rakes through Ento's body as he sits bolt upright in his bed.
Fuck me!
Ento says to the empty room, noticing the darkness now surrounding him. Apparently his short rest became a longer than he meant to rest. Awake and annoyed now, Ento knows the best thing he could do would be to ground himself and see if there are any other fungrels in the area who are awake and wanting to do something. Outside his house, he has plenty of places to ground himself, since he lives on the outskirts of town. His closest neighbor is an abandoned building that he explores sometimes. He hasn't been there in a while due to his studies. Ento's house had sat empty for many years before his parents purchased it for him. They told him he should be closer, in the main part of the city, but Ento likes the calm energy in the green spaces. There's an old, gnarled oak tree that grows between the two properties, where he likes to ground himself. The soil and the oak feel safe and welcoming. The oak likes him too. When the blue mushroom grounds into his soil, he can see all the other mushrooms and witness their pictured conversations. The night air is cooling as Ento makes his walk to the tree, when his instinct brings his attention to another tree past the oak, technically on the vacant neighbor's property. He's not sure what caught his attention, but his curiosity pushes him to walk closer to the disturbance. Grabbing his ornate wand, he approaches the tree to find nothing. He sheepishly begins to put his wand away when subtle movement catches the corner of his eye. Wand extended, he turns quickly to watch a single dark raven feather fall gently to the ground. Knowing ravens are daybirds, he fears that he's disturbed the ones possibly roosting in the tree.
Sorry,
He whispers to the likely spooked birds. The disappointment at his own foolishness begins to play on his insecurities, and he sees a light from the vacant house.
there shouldn't be a light in there. The mystery deepens.
He thinks to himself as he makes his way to the abandoned building. With his knowledge of the layout of the house from the previous visit, he quickly opens the small window on the opposite side of the house, dropping down into a large, opulent bathroom, which is common for Lenorc. Moving through the house with as much finesse as he can muster, he gets closer to the living room, where the light has been witnessed. Unfortunately, he trips, making a slight sound right before he gets to the door. The small fungal freezes in the room to listen if there is any movement or sounds of alarm, before moving again to the closed door, his heart pounding from stress.
It's probably just an animal.
He thinks to himself. As he reaches for the doorknob, an unfamiliar voice catches his attention. Removing his hand from the doorknob, he drops down to a crouch so he can peer into the room through the keyhole. Ento is able to make out the back of a rather large, imposing being, though only the torso is currently visible. The torso is wearing shiny silver armor. The armor looks unblemished, like it has never been tested. The voice is rough with a low vibrato, sounding like a being who is well-traveled and has seen many battles.
Tell me the answer to my question, or I'll make you suffer.
The voice bellows. A female voice answers. Sounds like a good time to me. The torso moves with a jerk, and the sound of a slap echoes in the mostly empty room.
It won't be.
The rough voice says in a harsh whisper. Your slaps are so gentle, like a pussy, and your hands are so soft. You probably haven't done a hard day's work in your life. The sultry voice purrs back.
Fuck you, whore. Do you think I'm joking with you? I did some research on you. I know you're vulnerable in this form. I could kill you right now. You know what? That sounds like a good idea. If I kill you, no one can collect on the contract,
says the male voice, filled with confidence. A rich female chuckle rings out. You really are as stupid as you look in that ridiculous facade. A contract has been signed. It will be fulfilled regardless if I die. Guess you didn't read the fine print. Ento sits, unsure if he is watching a real interrogation or maybe two people practicing a performance for the theater. The theater does put on interesting and somewhat creepy avant-garde shows. That is probably what it is. No one would be doing a violent interrogation in his small, exclusive town. He decides to enjoy the performance from his location, safely behind a mere inch of wood. Another jerk of movement from the large torso makes a loud crack as he seems to backhand her hard.
I am not stupid! You are! You think you could talk your way out of this? You can't use your devil magic on me in that bubble, and those chains keep you trapped in that pretty little human body.
The torso moves again, grabbing something in front of him, probably the pretty little human.
You're powerless against me. Now stop lying to me, bitch.
A spitting sound rings out, and the torso moves back, turning his face toward the door as he wipes the spit off, finally allowing Ento to see a little bit more of him. He's covered in short gray fur with soft, limp ears that hang to his chin and horns. His nose is flat, similar to a cow's, all the hallmarks of a furbog. His horns part in the middle of his head, starting out thick, only to taper off to 2 points that curve back toward his skull, like an ox. Ento knows every furbog in town, and this isn't one of them. Another slap rings out. Again, Ento's instinct tells him that this must be a play, or maybe it's a kink thing. He had read about kink. This could be that, he hopes. The female sultry voice responds. Wrong again. I don't lie. You really should learn to keep your mouth shut, because every time you speak, it just validates what everyone already thinks of you. A simple fool.
I am not a fool!
The furbog bellows in rage, pulling something out of his belt. A new sickening sound is heard, followed by the woman saying, Finally, penetrating me with something big enough for me to actually feel. Not sure what is happening anymore. Ento can feel his blood pressure rising at the stress of the events unfolding in front of the peephole.
Fuck you!
The oxbloke yells before taking a deep breath.
No, it won't be a quick death. I'm going to enjoy killing you slowly. But first, let's have some fun.
The furball begins to move out of the keyhole frame, revealing for the first time a human woman chained to the floor. The chains look like normal standard steel, but interweaving through each loop is golden energy, keeping the small-framed woman in place. Ento has never seen this type of magic. The woman's left eye has already begun to swell, and she's sporting a fat lip. Her wavy brown hair is stuck slightly to her skin from sweat. She's wearing a bright blue satin dress with black trimming and a belt around her waist, accentuating her curves. The sweetheart neckline has been torn, exposing one breast. The skirt would have lifted up into waves if she was able to twirl. With that outfit, she would have fit right into this town. She was breathing hard but still conscious. The furbog appears behind her, attempting to undo his pants as he grabs the knife that he had plunged into the woman's left side.
Here, let me take this out. You know what? Never mind.
Her face grimaces, but no scream comes out. She merely responds. A simple task, and you still manage to miss the hole. Still unsure what exactly is going on, but not wanting to risk a woman being violated, Ento decides he has to do something. With not much of a plan, Ento takes his wand out and begins to quietly recite some words. As he speaks, he hears the low, rumbling voice say,
We have a guest.
Realizing he had been heard, Ento has no choice but to save the damsel. Opening the door before the furball can locate him, he releases a thick fog from the tip of his wand into the room. The light lilac color of the fog mixes with the low light of the room, taking on a dark gray hue. The fog encompasses Ento and begins to fill the space around him at a very close range. He tries to be the voice of reason with the furbog, who he assumes is located somewhere in the fog. Using the biggest voice he can muster, he yells.
If this is a sex thing, I'm very sorry, but if this is non-consensual, then you should stop. I mean, you better stop.
His fear of the situation creeps into his voice, causing it to break a bit. Unfortunately, the furbog is close but stands on the outskirts of the misty cloud. Ento's pleas do not dissuade the floppy-eared oxman.
You're messing with the wrong guy, Pipsqueak. This bitch is mine. I'm going to kill her slowly,
he says as his counterspell wipes away Ento's fog cover. Taking several steps closer to Ento, he reaches into his pocket and puts on a pair of brass knuckles.
But you, I'm going to kill quickly,
he says, smiling as he punches his fists together. A green glow emerges from the brass, forming boxing gloves around his hands.
There you are. Oh, I'm going to enjoy this,
he says as he throws a punch towards Ento. The green gloves continues well past where the hand has stopped, and Ento is unable to evade the incoming blow. It sends pain throughout his body, his robes only protecting him a little bit from the severe damage.
This guy's relentless, being able to counter spells and attack before I can even move.
Ento thinks to himself. He sees the woman behind the furbog chained to a rock with glowing gold sigils carved into it. She seems to be encircled with a ring of salt and 4 more sigils. Ento has seen this in a book once. The 4 sigils represents the 4 elements, but something seems wrong. The sigils have been drawn crudely, and a dark reddish-brown substance. The woman is not moving. Her head hangs limply, blood dripping from the wounds. Blood. That was the substance used to make the sigils. But whose blood? The thoughts creep into his mind. Ento shakes off the unnerving question, focusing on getting the furball away from her. The blue mushroom moves to the side of the massive ox, taking 1 step forward to make sure he hits. With a flick and a swoosh, the purple energy wave emerges from his wand and knocks into the furball, sending him away from the human and into a wall. With the large threat removed for now, Ento runs as fast as he can, dodging around loose stones and gaps. Shifting the salt as he steps into the circle, he becomes aware of a crackle of electricity dissipating in the space. Not knowing what that was, he does not have enough time to think about it. Concentrating on his bracelet, he recalls the spell Healing Hands. Rubbing his hands together, he murmurs the incantation as he reaches out and pulls a thread of magical energy from the air. Pulling the thread through his body, harmonizing it with his words, his hands begin to glow a soft purple color with speckles of gold. He reaches over to the apparently unconscious woman, placing his hands upon her, allowing the magic to flow from himself into her. Stress pulses through him as he recalls the injuries she received. She begins to stir under his touch.
Stay away from her. She deserves everything that's coming to her.
Ento hears from behind him, spinning around, expecting to see a wrath-filled bull charging in his direction. Instead, Ento sees an empty room. Quickly becoming aware that his time to figure out how to free her is shortening, he decides to simply ask,
How can I help you?
She looks up at Ento, when her eyes catch something above him and go wide. Ento follows her gaze as she speaks. The furball is almost upon them, but not on the ground. His lower half seems to have grown extra spindly spider legs that hold onto the ceiling. In a hurried voice, she blurts out,
To break the chains.
Before she can finish her sentence, the massive bull lands between them, kicking Ento with great force, sending him flying back. It only causes a minor injury when he lands, but before he can stand up again, he watches as the furball's hands become hazy with a dark green mist. Looking at the recently conscious lady, he puts his misty hands up to his lips and says,
Hush.
The dark green mist flows from his hand ruins into her mouth, choking off the rest of her sentence. Her mouth moves, but nothing comes out.
That's better.
He coos, patting her patronizingly on the head. His back to Ento, the furball begins to shift and fade as the uncanny disguise drops. Standing up from the fall, Ento watches as the furball fades to nothing, showing his true self, a Qatari. Unsure what is happening, Ento focuses on what brought him into this fight. A person getting attacked and needing help. Ento remembers a spell he could use to protect her. He closes his eyes, going through his mind vault like he was taught in class. He feels the sweat begin to run down his forehead as he continues to focus, opening the vault and finding the spell he needs in this moment. His bracelet glows, and one of the charms changes as the new spell fills Ento's head. He takes his wand, drawing a sigil in the air with his purple energy as he whispers,
Kulindwa.
The shimmering sigil dissolves in the air, reappearing on the crouched woman's chest. The life word spell will keep her from dying, at least once. Confusion crosses the woman's face as she looks from the sigil over to Ento. The Qatari, noticing this new development, angrily grabs the knife from the woman's side. She winces a bit. Unable to quip to cover the pain, she angrily stares at the large catman. With 2 strong fluid motions of the wand, Ento steps into arm's reach of the Qatari, releasing a conjuration of wild flame. The brilliant white and lilac fire engulfs the orange feline, causing him to scream out in pain. As he turns around, Ento recognizes the face in the flame. It's Chad. Fear grips the mushroom deep inside.
What the hell is going on here? You're not a wizard. How can you...
Ento says out loud, instead of inside his head like he meant to. With the spell spent, the flames die away. The skin along the left side of Chad's body, free of all its fur, begins to blister. As he takes a step back and begins to move around Ento, he snarls.
I'm not a weak fucking wizard. I'm a powerful sorcerer. I found another way to use magic, through instinct and emotions. That school is so slow. I've leveled up faster than you could even imagine. As for what's going on here, you don't have to worry about that, because you walked into a fight above your tier, little mushroom. You're going to die, and I'm going to enjoy comforting Bella when I'm through with you and this whore, Caldarly.
He uses a knife to point at Ento, then to Caldarly, turning his gaze to her.
Since you seem to have taken a shine to each other, I'm going to kill him in front of you,
he says with a Cheshire Cat grin. Chad turns his attention back to Ento, still wearing that creepy smile. Ento watches as the whites of Chad's eyes begin to fill with a darkness. He begins to whisper, and as he chants, one voice begins to sound like several, all speaking over each other. The shadows of the candlelit room begin to combine themselves into a tall, lean, lanky, armed figure. The chanting stops for a brief second, causing an uncomfortable stillness in the room. The figure lurches towards Ento with unfathomable speed, closing the gap with arms outstretched. It slashes away the last bit of protection Ento's robes provide, exposing his squishy blue flesh underneath. Finished with its quick flash of violence, the tall, thin, dark creature rushes through Ento, sending chills down his spine, and is gone. Ento, still terrified by the shadow creature, sees Chad closing the gap. Ento tries casting his tethers again, but Chad notices the familiar purple ropes and rips his leg away before it can anchor him. The orange cat raises his arm as he steps up to Ento, thrusting the dagger down into Ento's exposed shoulder, then yanks it out and strikes again. He must have hit an artery, because Ento's blue blood begins to squirt. A small sizzle reverberates through the air, unheard by the two fighting figures. The mushroom tries to cast more armor to protect himself. The soft purple glow begins to form around his partially nude form, but Chad is ready and casts a counterspell, causing the purple glow to vanish before it can take hold.
It's time to die, Ento,
he says, smiling, gleefully making direct eye contact. Ento raises his arm instinctively to protect himself as Chad takes him into embrace, slipping the dagger into his arch nemesis' stomach and pulling it up towards the rib cage. Ento's body slumps in Chad's arm. Laughing, he throws Ento to the floor in front of Caldarly. With his life fleeting, everything seems to slow down for Ento. He watches as Chad raises the knife, even though he had already dealt the final blow. Ento thinks that maybe he can conserve his energy and avoid death, or he could go out in a blaze of glory, one spell before everything turns to dust. Before he can decide, he feels a warm hand touch his arm gently. A thought, not his own, bubbles up to his consciousness. Say, you are free. Feeling that desperation and want, Ento figures he might as well risk it all. He closes his eyes, seeing the face of Caldarly, knowing she will be killed next. Then the face of his friend Bella, being comforted by Chad. Determination to live takes hold, and he shakes off the tight grip of death upon him. Opening his eyes, he looks at Caldarly.
You are free.
The broken, bleeding mushroom whispers. Chad says,
No, you are.
Obviously not hearing Ento's words. If he had, he would have been petrified with fear. Bringing down the dagger to deliver the fatal blow to the prone Ento, his hands catch on something. The orange cat looks up and notices a leather whip wrapped around his dagger. One flick of the whip, and the dagger goes flying away from Chad. Confused, he quickly looks to the whip's origin to see the face of the woman with a swollen eye and a fat lip.
Psst, psst, psst. Here, pussy, pussy. It's my turn to play.
She purrs with a smile.
Oh no! Oh fuck, fuck, fuck!
Chad murmurs to himself, forgetting about his prone quarry on the floor. He turns to run away. He gets 3 steps before falling to his knees.
Get out of my head, you bitch!
He yells at her, grabbing his temples.
Tisk, tisk, tisk. You broke the contract. That means your soul is forfeit, and your body is mine.
The blue-dressed woman confidently says, as she walks up to the petrified mewing catman. She calmly takes his paw.
Only I can leave marks, sweetheart.
And proceeds to rip out Chad's claws one by one. For Ento, the scene itself is horrific, but the sound Chad is making would haunt his dreams. It isn't a sound of pain, but of ecstasy. After the claws are removed, she proceeds to beat him with her whip, which is braided with little silver bits poking out and a forked tip. With every hit, Chad moans. As he gets closer to death, he gets louder and louder. When it looks like one more hit would undo him, the young woman smiles, breathing heavily and not due to wielding the whip.
No foreplay. Let's get to the main course.
The small petite woman picks up her skirt, pushing Chad down onto the floor with no resistance.
What was it you said? Oh, that's right. Let's have some fun.
As she speaks, she lowers herself down. The instant her hips hit Chad, there's a flash of light and a blood-curdling scream. A bit confused, Ento shakes his head.
What the hell was that?
Blinking his eyes a bit, trying to focus, he finds himself face to face with the small framed Caldarli. Being this close to her, Ento is able to notice the finer details under the swollen eye and lip. Her big light green eyes, a cute button nose, and an adorable dimple in her left cheek when she smiles. Feeling drawn toward her lush, swollen lips, he notices the blood across her face. Snapping back to the present, taking a better look at Caldarli, he notices the bottom of her dress is completely soaked in blood.
Oh my goodness! Are you okay?
I'm better now. You okay, honey?
She asks.
I think so. What was that?
Ento asks as he realizes it's just the two of them.
Where's Chad?
He adds, quickly sitting up.
Chad is around, but he won't bother you none.
She says, putting her hand out to help him up.
As I see it, you saved my life and I saved yours, so we're even. I owe you nothing. Unless you want to make a deal.
No deal for me. I'm just happy I could help. I hope you have a lovely evening.
Ento says, turning around to leave.
Wait, if you don't want a deal or have me in debt to you, then why would you save me? You know I'm not really human, right?
She asks, puzzled by Ento's ability to walk away so easily.
Well, no one deserves to be tortured and assayed, even if they're a demon.
He responds. Thank goodness he reads so many books, and one of them was called Deal or No Deal, How to Spot and Deal with Demons. Amused by his censored answer, she replies.
You mean raped.
Ento flinches at the word.
Not using the word isn't going to stop it from happening. Or do you think if you say it 3 times it will happen?
Noticing Ento is still uncomfortable, she continues.
The word is just a word. It's the active rape that's horrifying.
Ento, still feeling uncomfortable, watches as Caldarli smiles at his squirming response. Takes a deep breath, knowing she is correct but still not ready to say that word out loud, and continues answering her previous question.
You're right. It's just a word.
He says with a weak smile back.
What happened?
He repeats. The demon, happy with her result, responds.
Maybe I'll see you around.
She winks and makes a rune in the air. In another flash of light, she's gone. Alone in an empty room, Ento realizes she did not answer his question. Confused and badly injured, he takes a quick glance at the room to see if there is anything that can help him figure out what was going on. Next to one of the candles, he notices an open book on the floor. Making his way to the book, he kicks something hard, flinging it closer to the candlelight. The dagger Chad had used to stab him and Caldarli, their mingled blood drying on the blade. Ento picks it up, unsure what to do with it right now, but the blood of a demon can't be a good thing to leave lying around. Going up to the book, he can see hand-drawn illustrations and writing. This must be someone's, possibly Chad's journal. Blowing out the candle, he grabs the dagger and the journal. He will figure it out tomorrow. Once home, he collapses on his bed, falling into a deep, dreamless sleep. He knows nothing cures scratches, bruises, and possible broken bones like a long rest. The next morning, feeling completely healed up, he takes a bit of time to mend his robes. Walking home partially naked felt vulnerable. The stress from last night still weighs heavily on him. What was that all about? What happened to Chad? What type of demon did he save? These questions and more relentlessly run through his head in a circle. The cycle finally breaks when his eyes focus on the dark red leather-bound journal from last night, tied shut with a strip of leather. Flipping through it, he recognizes some of the names: demons of avarice, demons of pride, prodlings, crossades, imps. Of course, there are some names he's never heard of, like Apene Upri and Consuver, before he finally lands on the page that it was open to last night. Nymphs, a type of imp that uses sex to gain power over their victims. According to the journal, once sex is engaged, the crossbreedable being will then become obsessed with the nymph. Every encounter in which coitus occurs, the obsession grows more and more, until they simply disappear. Most do not return. The few who do return claim to have met a beautiful being, which each one describes differently. They make deals with them, but have blanks in their memories after that, as if their memories were taken or never made. Those people who return have great fortune, but tragically die within 5 years, or disappear a second time, never to be seen again. Luckily, nymphs cannot initiate coitus. The victims must make all the first moves. The nymph will follow their lead. If you ever come across a crossbreedable stuck with their backside available, a small child with no family, or a lone tied up crossbreedable on a path, do not initiate coitus. It might be a nymph. Written in a different handwriting next to the sentence about the beautiful being are the words, Head of Nymphs, Cal Darley. Then, after the last sentence, the same hand writes, That slut came on to me. Ento immediately recognizes the new handwriting from some threatening notes he had received in his lifetime. Apparently, this was not Chad's journal, but a journal he found. Ento starts to come up with a plan for the dagger. A quick, hopefully easy plan. Knowing Chad so well, he flips a couple more pages to find what he needs. He reads aloud to himself the title at the top of the page.
How to Summon a Demon Safely.
Chad would have given up if he had to find another book to show him the next step. He was never good at research. Hope fills Ento's entire body. He can give her the knife, and she will be willing to answer a question or two. Reading over everything that he needs is easy enough, since most of the stuff is still at the abandoned house. He'll gather any other ingredients he needs and summon her. It will be nice to make sure she's okay, Ento thinks to himself. Darkness comes early this time of year. With a full night's rest and an armful of magical ingredients, Ento makes his way over to the empty neighboring house. Lighting the candles in the cavernous room sets memories flashing through his mind, causing him to shiver. He takes a deep breath and walks over to the circle that had been created by Chad's hand last night. Opening the book and setting it aside, he begins to draw over the old sigils with his blood. With intention and words, Ento begins the ritual. He finishes by shouting into the air around him,
Cal Darley, I summon thee!
Nothing happens. 10 seconds pass. Nothing happens. 20 seconds pass. And still, nothing happens. 30 seconds pass by until a flash fills the room. In the circle stands a broad-shouldered dame in a zip-up, skin-tight black pleather full-body outfit. Her black hair pulled back into a high, tight ponytail, causing her hair to cascade down both sides of her head. Her makeup reminds Ento of a corpse, very dark and dramatic.
Excuse,
says the figure.
Oh, Cal Darley? Is that you?
Ento sheepishly asks, worried he summoned a different demon. The face of the new demon sets their gaze upon the blue mushroom. A bit of a surprise moves quickly across her features. Without a word, there's a shimmer as the creature shifts into the same woman from the other night.
Well, hi, stranger. Back so soon? Did you miss me?
She says with a devilish grin.
Hi, yes, no, maybe? I wanted to give you this.
Ento says, handing the dagger to the woman.
Oh, thanks. And this is...
she asks, taking hold of the dagger.
The dagger, from last night. It's got your blood on it. I didn't think it'd be safe here, since I know demon blood can be used for some dark magic. At least that's what I've read. You're the first demon that I've met.
Ento says to the demon, who is holding a bewildered expression as she looks around the circle.
Did I do it wrong?
Ento inquires.
There's no salt. Aren't you scared I'm gonna kill you or go on a rampage or something?
The small woman asks.
Oh, nah, you could have done that last night. I thought if someone locked me in a bubble, I'd be quite perturbed at them, so why should I do that to you? You haven't shown any signs of aggression towards me, only a Katari who was being very ungentlemanly. I was wondering something, though. Is it okay if I ask you a question?
Ento asks, feeling like he might be pushing his luck. Amused at the blue being in front of her, she says,
You've answered my question about the salt. I guess it's only fair.
Are you comfortable in that form? I read that you're a nymph, or possibly the head of the nymphs. Do you ever get to just be a nymph?
Ento asks, oddly concerned about the demon's well-being. The amusement leaves her face as she studies Ento.
It's comfortable enough. Doesn't hurt at all. Kind of like wearing an old pair of socks. Much like an old pair of socks, though. I enjoy taking it off when I get home.
She says, almost completely still as she speaks. Breaking that stillness with a sudden movement, she continues.
My turn. This outfit doesn't seem to be to your liking. So what does your dream being look like?
I don't know, just someone who will make me laugh and laugh at my jokes. Share similar values. Me wanting what's best for them and they for me, but both allowed to be ourselves. In the end, my dream woman would be my best friend and partner.
Ento responds easily, since he has thought about that question a lot over the years.
Give me your hand.
Caldarli commands. Ento's face flashes with fear.
Please.
She adds, softening. Ento slowly holds out his hand to her. As she takes his hand in hers, Ento feels a bit of electricity running between them. Her eyes never leaving his, he feels a gentle caress inside his skull.
You just want to see me as a nymph, even though you don't know what they look like, because it would be more comfortable for me.
She says as a statement, knowing the truth, having peeked into his mind. Ento, taking a gulp of air, simply nods his head. The figure before him begins to shimmer, shifting the air about them. What do you think? A smile crosses Ento's goofy face as he sees before him a nymph. The creature is taller than him, slightly broad-shouldered, with shiny alabaster skin, womanly curves of breast and hips, but the legs are backwards, like an ostrich. Her calves and arms look as though they have been dipped into the black night itself, her hands ending in claws, with her feet ending in hoof-like heel and a human foot from the ankle to the toes. She has 2 blackened stumps where her wings should start. Her face has bright red lips, a small bump for a nose, and big red eyes with no pupils. The top of her head, much like her hands and feet, has a dark black hue. The darkness starts as a jagged line across her forehead, going up into 2 sharp horns. The horns start about an inch back, folding down along the skull before curving up, then back again, similar to an S. Her jet black curly hair is chin length. Picking his jaw up off the floor, Ento says,
You look lovely, Caldarli. Oh, no, I keep forgetting to ask. Are you a she, he, they? I know you can be any gender. Do you have a preference?
The demon giggles at his reaction. Gender is a silly concept. I've only been me, which is all and none. You can use whichever gender sounds right to you. I usually keep the boobs because who doesn't love boobs? Even gay men love boobs, just in a different way. Oh, and most people call me by my nickname, Callie. She says with a wink, her voice lower, more sultry. They wind up talking all night. Ento is a gentleman the whole time. By the end of the night, he is tired, but feels jubilation at making a new friend. Callie, though, feels confused. How did she spend all night talking to someone? He didn't make a move. She even enjoyed herself. He intrigues Callie. She might have to pay him another visit. 2 nights later, Ento, wanting a cheap drink, walks into a smaller local bar, which he does regularly. This bar is where secret deals are made and blackmail is rampant. It's not nice, but the meals and drink are cheap, and it's the only bar within walking distance of his house. Taking a seat at the bar, studiously keeping his eyes to himself, he notices someone taking the stool next to him. A small ribbit, a frogman, 4 feet tall, with a top hat and navy blue 3-piece suit, places an obviously inebriated smaller ribbit on the stool, holding her up as he asks the bartender for the check. Oh, hey, funny running into you here. The inebriated ribbit blurts out, sitting straighter than before, her eyes locked onto Ento.
Do I know?
Ento notices the green eyes, stirring a sensation of connection in his guts.
Callie?
He whispers. The other ribbit, taking notice of the exchange, grabs Callie harder while saying,
Do not talk to my date. She's living with me tonight.
He turns to the bartender, giving him a bag full of coin.
Let's go, dear.
He says, attempting to usher Callie out. Suddenly sober, Callie refuses to budge. No, I'm good, dear. This is my friend. I'm going to stay here for a bit. She states plainly. Flabbergasted by this turn of events, the unknown ribbit grabs her arm and proclaims in a hushed whisper,
I bought you drinks and dinner. You owe me.
Callie pulls her arm away from his weak grip. Her voice takes on her natural tone, lower, smoother, powerful, as she corrects him. You think I owe you? Because you bought me drinks and food, it gives you the right to force yourself on me when you know I couldn't say no? I owe you nothing, little man. Is that the only way you can get off? That's pathetic. Next time, buy a prostitute. They get paid to pretend you can give them an orgasm in your 1-minute performance. You are a self-centered drain on society because you can't see beyond your nose. You are nothing. No one will miss you when you die, unless you pay them, and the world will be a better place. It almost happened tonight. A dark grin spreads across her face. You owe my friend for saving you tonight. But don't worry. I doubt you'll learn from this exchange. I doubt anyone will save you next time. She chomps the last part, allowing her mouth to fill with fangs to emphasize the point. Turning back to Ento, the bar is still a murmur of secrets. No one seemingly noticed the creepy exchange. Let's get out of here. Oh, you can show me your place. I promise nothing nefarious on this night. Callie says, linking her arm with Ento, leading them out the door.
Sure, you did a great job defending yourself. I thought I was going to have to duel a ribbit.
Ento says as he walks through the bar doors. As soon as the door is shut behind him, he turns to see the ribbit has turned into a female fungrel with a white body stalk, a red cap with white spots, and 3 hoops piercing the edge of the left side. Her eyes that familiar green, and a smile reminiscent of her nymph self. That means I've saved you twice. I think that makes you a damsel. I've always wanted a damsel of my own, she says as she cuddles into his arm. Ento laughs.
I think I make a pretty good damsel in distress. Even if you need me to wear a dress, I'll be happy to. I've got the legs for it,
he says, pulling up his slacks, showing off his purple socks. Once back at his place, she turns back into a nymph. They talk the whole night through, her asking about everything in his room, him asking her what life is like where she is from. She usually redirects his question, but either he doesn't notice or doesn't mind, allowing himself to listen to what she's willing to tell him. Over the next several weeks, it seems every night Ento can't help but run into her in town. Then they go back to his place and talk the whole night through. Then one night, things begin to shift. After hours of talking, Ento asks Callie what she wants in a partner. The question takes her aback, but she replies, I've never thought about it. No one's ever asked me that. She pauses before continuing. Plus, I'm a demon. Nymphs can't fall in love. It's pointless to think about. Ento keeps silent, waiting for her to continue. The silence begins to get to Callie, and, starting to get annoyed with this silly game, she decides to change the rules. Well, I could say my ideal type is a royal blue fungrel with dark brown eyes and legs like a sexy dame, she says, leaning forward. Ento leans forward as well, but remains quiet. Who can make me laugh and help me in a fight? Their lips are barely touching. Unable to stand it anymore, Callie whispers, Can I kiss you? Ento, finally speaking, whispers back,
Yes.
With that simple word, the tension breaks as Callie fiercely kisses Ento. Ento kisses her back just as powerfully. After 30 seconds of this passionate embrace, with his hands in her hair and hers in his fibrillos, Callie quickly pulls away, seemingly a bit uncomfortable, stating, I've gotta go now. I'll see you. With a quick sigil, a flash and a pop, she disappears from the room before Ento can say anything. Fear creeps into him.
Did I do something wrong?
He asks, hoping she can hear him. The next day, he's still a bit unsure of the previous night. Ento, playing the conversation over and over again, knows what he can do. He goes to the local blacksmith and commissions a new, well-balanced rapier to match his wand. He also stops by the local bookshop. When he goes to the till, the bookkeeper eyes his purchase, then Ento, with a look of, You sure you want this book? Ento smiles back with a slight, yeah, I know, gesture. Though he wants to all day, he never runs into Callie. When the next day comes, he picks up his rapier and begins to practice with it as he waits to run into Callie. But once again, she doesn't show. The next night, he knows he should be studying, but after an hour, his mind begins to wander, which is very unlike him. He decides she does not have to be the only one to reach out. He could simply summon her. Quickly convincing himself that this is a good idea, he grabs his supplies, books, and rapier. Rushing over to the vacant house, he prepares the ritual, saying every step aloud to himself.
Candles, check. Sigils, check.
The word sigil he says with a hard G instead of a soft G. Luckily, no one is around to hear this mistake. Finishing the summoning with the command for her to show, he stands up straight and fixes his collar as he waits for her to arrive. In the center of the circle, a small male dwarf appears. Even in this form, the familiar sensation stirs in Ento's stomach. Seeing him, she sighs and changes into her nymph form. Most demons don't like to be summoned. She sounds annoyed this time. She notices the red journal in his hands. Let me have that book. She grabs for the book, easily pulling it away from him as he lacks the strength to resist, begins to flip through it. That's true. That's not true at all. Here they are, she says to herself, ripping out the pages about nymphs and how to summon demons. She folds the loose papers and places them squarely between her breast.
I'm not sure what happened the other night, but I want to talk about it. We can just be friends if that's better. I'm sorry for my bad kissing. I haven't kissed many people.
He stammers. What? No, you're a great kisser. One of the best, actually. I just don't... This is what is wrong. I shouldn't be tongue-tied. You're mixing me up inside. I don't know what's happening, but it's not right. I just can't be around you, she says, stepping forward.
I'm sorry I do that to you. Did the time away help you realize that? I didn't know I was hurting you. Is there anything I can do?
He asks politely. No, every night I'm thinking of you. You see how that's bad, right? You're supposed to be obsessed with me, she says, defeated.
Well, I do like you. I think about you a lot. Also, I got you this,
he says, handing her the new book.
I know you like all the books I have, so I brought you a book I thought you might like.
Unwrapping the cloth-covered book, she sees a small novel with the name Pirate Adventures 2, More Tentacles. A smile crosses her face, quickly followed by a burst of anger. Why are you being so nice to me? Do you think you can change me? Get something for free? Has that been your plan the whole time? You just wanted to get into my vagina, like every other male species on this continent.
I'm nice to you because I like you. You're my friend. I enjoy our nightly company, and besides, you're nice to me too,
he says, looking her square in the eyes. Apparently, this was a mistake. Her anger beginning to grow, she bellows back. You like me? You don't even know me. You have no idea what I'm capable of. I am not a weak little nymph. You want to see the real me? So be it. The shape before him begins to grow taller, her arms and legs growing longer, her torso doubling in size, becoming serpentine. A dark, cloudy mist clings to the stretching body as a slinky dress appears, with a long V-neck exposing white and black scale-like structures down to where her belly button should be, and slits up the side, exposing both exaggerated legs. Every movement seems as though she will expose herself. 8 bony wings spring forth from her back, layered in a tight leather-like skin, with fleshy parts on the tips of each segment. A spade-tipped tail whips around behind her. The dark mist begins to cover her face and hair, while her horns turn silver as they grow larger, curving around her head, almost touching in the back, creating a halo effect. In the darkness, where her face once was, a mask appears. One solid piece of alabaster white. The bottom lip is frozen forever, being bitten by the top lip, still bright red in color. The eye holes are crescent-shaped, like the eyes are rolling back in ecstasy. Behold, my true form. I am a demon of lust, Callie yells, then continues. Do you like my mask? I can change it for you. Doing a swift wiping motion in front of her face, her mask changes expression. This one has an O-shaped mouth, and the eyes have a lace blindfold over them. Or this, she says, doing the motion again, showing a mask with an exaggerated smile and a long tongue sticking out. The ladies like this one a lot. Wiping again, she goes back to the first mask. It's time for you to remember my power. With those words, the missing memory comes flooding back to Ento. He saw her in this form that night. When her hips hit Chad, she turned into herself in the blue dress. Her one exposed breast changed, becoming more plump, while her areola were small lips, and in the place of a hard nipple, a tongue curled, moving in and out of the lips. As she rode him, he let out a scream, then froze, unable to move, but his eyes darted around. With a quick movement, Callie put her arm down his throat, cooing at him as she did. She pulled out a ball of beautiful light in which all the colors brightly shined. Grinning, she put it in her mouth. As she swallowed the light, a crushing sound could be heard as blood began to pour from under the dress. Callie was moaning and grinding as Chad seemed to shrink, getting pulled under the dress. Callie orgasmed loudly as Chad fully disappeared. Getting up, she walked over and said, "Don't worry, darling. I don't have a contract for you yet." She winked, then turned back into the human woman, and the memory transitioned back into the part Ento remembered. Callie glares down, expecting Ento to run away. Not wanting to say the wrong thing again and cause another escalation, Ento concentrates. He knows he must use the voice of reason and search his heart for the right words.
I thought you'd be taller. Also, you think that's powerful. You should see me with a melon. I mean, my thighs aren't strong enough to crush it. Maybe bruise it a bit. However, I can eat it real fast and then give myself a bit of a stomachache. But I can handle it.
He says, which was critically what she needed to hear in that moment. She can't help but laugh at the small blue mushroom man before her. "You're not scared and I'll kill you?" she asks sheepishly.
Nah, you seem to kill guys who are pricks. I'm not a prick, just a bit weird.
He says, stepping toward the 3 foot taller than him demon of lust. "You're so weird," she says, as her mask changes into a stupid silly grin.
Yeah, I know. But I'm the kind of weird that fits in with your weird, right?
She nods her head in the affirmative.
But honestly, you look lovely. In any form, you're still Caldali, my friend. And if you'd have me, maybe something more if you'd like. Just don't consume me with your vagina. Agreed?
Ento asks. "The vagina dentata? I'll try not to." Ento lowers his eyes and makes a face. Okay, I agree. I make the worst deals with you," she says, nudging him a bit with her shoulder. "What's the rapier for?" she asks.
Ah, this!
He excitedly says as he stands up.
It's for when you get tired of saving me, I can save myself. Or, if you need to be the damsel, I'm a switch damsel.
He says, winking. She laughs at the assumption she would ever be the damsel.
Here, I'll show you.
He says as he pulls out the rapier, steadying himself, feeling the ground beneath him. Taking in a deep breath, he spins completely around, becoming a whirlwind of death for anyone too close.
That's all I can do for now, but it's pretty impressive, right?
Proud of himself, he smiles at Callie. She smiles back and says, "Oh, so impressive. So, mighty warrior. You wanna make out?"
I do, but I just had a memory come back of you eating Chad. So, can we do that later tonight? Also, what happened to Chad? You said he was around. By the way, how did I forget that memory?
Ento responds. That makes sense. Chad's soul is still on this plane. He is just a nip now. When I consumed his soul, I regurgitated it up in about a week as a nip to do my bidding. The memory part happens automatically when someone sees a demon of lust in their true form. It's hard to kill what you don't know. That's why we are not in any books. Also, if you tell anyone this, I will have to kill you. Callie says, leaning her head down to Ento's shoulder.
Fair.
Ento responds, kissing the top of her head. The two unlikely pair started to date. Everything was going smooth. Well, as smoothly as dating a demon can go. Callie was learning new things, like not to threaten people, that guys can be friends with women. Bella, however, did maintain distance from Ento after her meeting with Callie, no matter how many times Callie tried to convince her that she was only kidding. Ento learned some demons of lust are ticklish, that this one doesn't like to be tickled, and if Ento goes for a tickle attack, she will flail wildly. He also learned that when she flails, he can accidentally get kicked. This allowed him to learn that getting kicked through a wall will get you a couple stitches and a mild concussion. It was finally the day of Ento's wizarding level. They had been waiting to have sex until after his wizarding exams, due to his own ritual of self-celibacy beforehand. He had been studying as much as he could and felt confident that he aced the written portion. Unfortunately, he forgot the practical part of the exam, which was a duel. He got some points, but was sore and a bit injured by the end of the duel, losing overall. How could he forget? He never forgets information about Tess. He thinks to himself. Dejected, but not as upset as he thought he would be, he walks home, excited to see Callie. He is finally allowing himself to get excited about tonight. When he arrives home, Callie is already there, her mist form around her body in a tiny negligee. But when she sees his face, the mist drops back into the slinky dress. Her mask changes to a worried expression. "What's wrong?" she asks.
I forgot about the duel, but it's okay.
He says, eerily calm about the loss. "You're injured. Do you need me to get the doctor again?" she asks while poking him in the bruise.
Ow, stop that. I'll be fine. I really liked the little outfit you were wearing when I came home,
he says with a devilish grin. "Okay, but if anything hurts, let me know, and I can turn it into pleasure." Letting themselves finally give in to their carnal passion, they move together like they were made for each other, knowing exactly what the other one wants. Pleasure ripples through their entangled bodies. Right at the beginning of the climax, something primal takes over Callie. Her vagina begins to tighten, the teeth begging to be let out, desiring for a piece of Ento to be deeper inside her. Fear mixes with her pleasure. Knowing she can't stop it, she redirects her bite. Ento doesn't know anything is wrong until, at the peak of his climax, he feels the teeth in his shoulder. His pain immediately erupts into pleasure. Both finish at the same time, but Callie immediately jumps off. I'm so sorry. I couldn't stop myself," she says, desperately pleading with Ento. Ento lays motionless. "Sweet mushroom? Darling. Ento?" she says as she looks over at the bleeding body of her favored being. Ento awakens in what he can only describe as not his house. "Oh, good, you're awake," a voice says to his left. Looking over, he sees the healer, a small female gnome with white hair, walking closer. Some say in her youth she was an adventurer. She is the best healer in these lands, known for healing people who couldn't pay, and always makes sure people who have the money pay in full, which is rare on this island.
What happened?
Ento asks, still a bit woozy. "I'm not sure. The young lady who brought you in for those stitches a while back brought you in 2 nights ago with some sort of large animal bite taken out of your shoulder," she says, pointing. Looking over, Ento sees the bandage wrapped around his shoulder, his dominant arm in a sling. The doctor continues. "When I went to ask her what happened, she was gone." Trying to wiggle his fingers, he realizes they aren't responding. He looks puzzled, but the doctor knows the next question before it happens. "Oh, well, you're alive, and plenty of people have frozen arms. The good thing is you survived. Now rest up a bit more before I send you home," she says, putting her hand on his good shoulder and giving it a squeeze before walking away. A couple hours later, on his walk home, Endo, for the first time in his life, feels lonely. He's not entirely sure what happened, but he wants to talk to her. That night, she doesn't come. The next day, he goes through the motion of everyone visiting, trying to convince him he was fine. He was lucky, that it must have been a bear. He smiles, nodding politely, but even with them there, he feels lonely. Later that night, Ento awakes to find Callie on his bed in a fungal form. "I'm so sorry," she says, without looking at him. "I couldn't stop myself. I tried, but all I could do was try to mitigate the damage and turn it into pleasure for you. I'm a demon. It was silly of me to think I could be anything else."
That's okay. It was an accident. Next time, we'll be ready.
Ento responds, reaching out to Callie. She turns away from his touch. "There cannot be a next time. Next time I might kill you. I don't know what I can change in myself and what is just me, my nature. Since I can't control it or even know when it will happen, I am unsafe for you," she says, turning away from him. "Plus, you need to go out and be an adventurer. I can never join you."
But my arm, and I don't want to be an adventurer.
Ento tries to reason with her, but Callie cuts him off. "No, you do. Demon of lust. I can see what you desire. You wanted someone who wants what is best for you, and I do, even if I can't be a part of it. I'm sorry about your harm, but you are brilliant. You'll think of something," she says. "I never cared for someone. I never thought I could care, nor did I want to try. I've been doing what's natural to me since the first crossbreeds began reproducing, she says before turning her gaze onto Ento. You make me feel something I never thought I could feel. The time I've spent with you has been and will always be some of my favorite memories in existence. I cannot and will not be the cause of your demise. I can't lie. I'll probably watch you from afar from time to time, but you won't see me. This is goodbye, my sweet mushroom.
Well, don't I get a say?
Ento asks, putting his hand on her cheek. Unfortunately, not this time, darling. With that, she leans over and kisses Ento deeply. She wipes away one of her tears, then one of his, stands up, and with a final flash, Ento finds himself alone. Ento stays alone in his house for days, that turn into weeks, that turn into a month. A visit from his best friend Bella, who had been trying to see him, gets Ento to finally open the door. She knows he's depressed from the breakup. Still, she invites him to go adventuring with her and their friends. She assures him he can still be depressed, but some of the time he can be depressed with friends. The baker, one town over, is offering the group of university students delicious pastry for taking care of the large rodents in his basement. Ento wants to go, but he's unsure what he could do with only one arm, until it hits him. Literally. Bella tosses a small shield at him. Strapping it on, he is able to nimbly move his body while the shield holds firm. Prepared, the two friends and the adventurers walk next to each other as Ento proclaims,
Rodents of unusual size. I don't believe they exist.
After finding out that they do indeed exist, Ento realizes Callie was right, that adventuring is calling to him. He decides to leave the university, disappoint his parents, bring a small amount of shame on his family, and set out for adventure. He joins up with the Wandering Wonders, a menagerie of different species from all walks of life. They pick up quests where they can, sometimes several in one place. He continues like this until one day when everything changes for him. They are a couple kilometers from their next destination when Ento, gazing at the tree line, sees movement. Drawing his wand, he yells,
Show yourself!
His partner standing behind him. Hi, my sweet mushroom. I like your shield, a voice says from the trees as a devilishly attractive purple infernal steps forward with a bundle in her arms. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I need to talk to you. Ento feels a familiar stirring in his stomach. His heart leaps in his chest, recognizing the voice and those green eyes. Telling his teammates to wait where they are, he approaches Callie with a grin. He tries to give her a hug around the awkward bundle she is holding.
What is it? Ah!
Ento says, surprised by the bundle's movement.
It's a baby!
He says, once his brain is able to process what he's looking at.
Why'd you have a fungal baby?
Ento asks, completely oblivious to what is about to happen. With a heavy sigh, Callie says, Well, she's only half fungal. This is Delilah, after a dear friend of mine. Delilah Frederickstein Loma von Kakako Statirai. That last part is after her father. She pauses, waiting for Ento. She's your daughter? Ento watches the tiny, royal blue, mostly fungal-looking baby, reaching out to hold the adorable bundle, he says.
Well, nice to meet you, Delilah. That's a lovely name.
He looks up at Callie.
How did we... I didn't think you could, you know? Not that I'm... Did you know you could get pregnant?
Yeah, I was just as confused as you. I thought maybe your shoulder made me sick, since I only eat souls with that mouth. But about a week ago, my stomach was moving around, then crushing pain before I turned a portion of it into pleasure. The pain went off and on for hours until I couldn't stand it anymore and sliced open my stomach to remove the problem. Callie says, as she lifts up her shirt to show a large, fresh scar across her stomach. I pulled her out. I thought she was just a copy of you, since I'm not sure how fungals reproduce. Ento, wanting to help, begins.
Well, actually, fungals reproduce by a system of...
That's not why I'm here, she says quickly, cutting him off, but giving him an apologetic look, wanting to hear this information, but not having the time. Like I was saying, I thought she was just a copy of you, but found out quickly she is part of me, too.
How can you tell?
Ento asks, bringing the bundle up to his face. Callie takes her claws, gingerly making a small slash across one of the infant's arms. The tiny mushroom screams and begins to grow larger. She turns from blue to white. Her cap shifts from a royal blue to a deep red with white spots. From under her cap, horns emerge, pushing it upward, creating a mohawk. The two horns mimic her mother's, forming an S shape. Her facial features seem to sink away as a mask with a large grin, exaggerated by slashed cheeks, pushes from under her skin. When she opens her mouth to scream again, the slashes split open as well, making her mouth 3 times larger, revealing large, sharp teeth all the way back.
Ah, there you are. How do I calm her down?
Ento asks while trying to comfort his baby. Callie reaches into the bundle, pulling out a small spade tail. She likes to suck on her tail. Placing the tail into Lila's mouth, she soothes her back into a small, royal blue, mostly fungal baby. She has to stay with you. Hell is not a place for an adorable part demon like her. Avarice will eat her up if they can, and I don't want to think what pride would do with her. There are countless things that could happen to her, being my daughter. With you, she can be safe, and I know she'll be loved. When she is ready, please tell her about me. And know that I needed her to be safe.
That's why you're an infernal, so anyone who sees this will think she's just another half-infernal child, instead of half-infernal because her mum's a demon.
Ento says, finally figuring out what was going on. Callie smiles, nodding yes. It's good to see you again. Callie says, pausing before kissing Ento one last time, leaving him speechless while holding the baby. Oh, and one more thing. You'll need to watch her closely. She is a sneaky little mushroom.
What do you mean?
Ento asks. Callie grasps Ento, turning him slightly so the sun would be fully at his back. The baby Delilah begins to giggle as the shadow is pulled in around her. Then pop! Suddenly, Ento's arms are empty. Worried, he begins to look around when he hears one of his teammates behind him. Hello, mysterious baby. You are so tiny and vulnerable. I will protect you. I am your shield now. Ento turns around to see his large orc companion leaning down into her shadow to pick up the tiny blue mushroom. The worry vanishes, but when he turns to talk to Callie, he finds no one there.
I'll keep her safe. I promise.
Ento says, knowing she is still close by listening. Ento is a bit nervous with a new child, but he knows the Wandering Wonders will help keep her safe. Going up to the orc, he says,
That's Delilah. She's my daughter.
The orc says nothing and simply nods in approval of the addition of the team.
Brixie, can I have my daughter back?
He asks. No, you lost her. I will hold her now, for safety. Brixie says, walking back into camp.
Brixie!
Ento says as he follows behind her. Aunt Brixie would eventually give me back to Dad. I was raised by the Wonders. They began retiring bit by bit, then Dad retired last year. So now I'm here to find myself a new adventuring party. I know that taverns like this is where it usually begins.
Says a giant blue fungrel with 4 piercings along her blue conical cap, wearing a simple pocket-filled dress with a tail for a belt, addressing the dwarven woman tending the bar.
Right, dear. Most people usually just say something like work, or maybe wolves ate my whole family, when I question what brings them into town.
The bartender says with a nervous smile. Delilah thinks that the smile is genuine and gives a large, authentic smile back.
Naturally, names and towns have been changed to protect people's privacy, and St. Liberties were used on scenes Dade wouldn't share. Bet I'm close, though.
Delilah says to the bartender as she tries to back up. The bartender is unsure how to react to Delilah since everyone knows there's no such thing as a demon of lust. No one's ever seen one, and if they had, someone would have written it up in one of the books or drawn a picture. Overworked, overwhelmed, and tired, she lets slip from her lips what she's thinking.
Is it Thursday yet?
Delilah looks puzzled. That's a weird way to ask what day it is, but she answers the frazzled woman.
Nah, it's Wednesday. Well, I'm going to sit over there. If anybody needs an adventurer, send them my way.
Delilah loves to tell her story to anyone who listens because they always seem to forget soon after.
She stands up from the bar to take a seat at the well-lit table in the middle of the tavern. There the young and Fergal sits, waiting for her own hopefully epic adventure to begin.